अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवर्जकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन धाम की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। धाम की जय। गंगा मैया की जय। यमुना की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। नाम संकीर्तन की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत गीता की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories to Shishi Guru and Shishi Gauranga, all Guru Hari Bol. Namo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiriet shanamatam swakatha krishna punya shamana kirtana hardyanta istu bhadrani vidnoti swasam nashta prayesha bhadreshu nityam bhava sevya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1st, chapter number 13, in text number 12 and 13. Okay, so we'll recite both the verses and then we'll discuss on it. So I'll recite first the verse 3 times and then you can all recite after me. Ityukto dharmarajena sarvam tat samvarnayat yathanubhutam kramasho vina yadukulakshayam. Ityukto dharmarajena sarvam tat samanvarnayat yathanubhutam kramasho vina yadukulakshayam. Itya ukto dharmarajena sarvam tat samvarnayat yathanubhutam kramasho vina yadukulakshayam. Yeah, please recite.
Ityukto dharmarajena sarvam tat samavarnayat yatanubhutam karamaso vina yadukulakshayam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Ityayukta dharma rajena sarvam tata samavarnayat yathanubhutam kramasho vina yadukulakshayam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Utye ukto dharma rajana sarvam tat samavarnayat yatanuputam kramaso vina yadukula shayam. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Mataji.
इति उक्तो धर्मराजेन सर्वं तत्समावर्णयत् यथानुभूतं क्रमासो विनयादुकुलाश्रयम्
कृष्ण इत्युक्तो धर्मराजेन सर्वतत् समर्वयत् यथानुभूतं क्रमशो विना यदुकुलशयम् हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण इति युक्तो धर्मराजेन सर्वं तत् समवर्णयत् यथानुभूतं क्रमशो विनायतु कुलक्षयम् हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण
इत्युक्तो धर्मराजेन सर्वं तत् समवर्णयत् यथानुभूतं क्रमशो विनायदुकुलक्षयम्
हरे कृष्ण
इति उक्तो धर्मराजेन सर्वं तत्समवर्णयत् यथानुभूतं क्रमशो विना यदुकुलाक्षयम्
Is there anyone else who would like to cite? All right, so let's move on. So I'll read the synonyms translation. Synonyms: iti, thus; ukta, being asked; dharmarajena, by King Yudhishthira; sarvam, all; tat, that; samvaranayat, properly described; yatha anubhutam, as he experienced; kramashah, one after another; vina, without; yadukul kshayam, annihilation of Yadu dynasty. Translation by His Divine Grace अभय चरणारविंद भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. Thus, being questioned by Maharaj Yudhishthir, Mahatma Vidur gradually described everything he had personally experienced, except news of the annihilation of Yadu dynasty. So we'll read the next verse also, then we'll discuss together. Nan apriyam durvishaham naranam swayam upasthitam नावेद्यत सा करुणो दुखितान द्रष्टुम अक्षमः. Synonyms: Nanu, as a matter of fact; apriyam, unpalatable; durvisham, unbearable; naranam, of humankind; swayam, in its own way; upasthitam, appearance; na, did not; avedyat, expressed; saha karunha, compassionate; dukhitan, distressed; drashtum, to see; akshamaha, unable. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaran Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Compassionate Mahatma Vidur could not stand to see Pandavas distressed at any time. Therefore, he did not disclose the unpalatable and unbearable incident, because calamities come on their own accord. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to Niti Shastra civic laws, one should not speak an unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. Distress comes upon us in its own way by the laws of the nature. So one should not aggravate it by propaganda. For a compassionate soul like Vidura, especially in his dealings with beloved Pandavas, it was almost impossible to disclose an unpalatable piece of news like the annihilation of Yadu dynasty. Therefore, he purposely refrained from it. Om Ajnanatimiradasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahegana Raghunathanamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahegana Lita Shri Vishakhanimitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकांत राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचरणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतरणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदान्य कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्ण कृष्णेतने नामने गुरत्वशे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्त रूप स्वरूपकं भक्तवतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्त शक्तिकं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण. So here so this chapter is in Srimad Bhagavatam is given like when Vidura before the war of Mahabharata, just to give a context like what exactly is going on here, Vidura before the war of Mahabharata, he left Dhritarashtra and he was actually going on a various places of pilgrimage, a different holy dham he was visiting. And then after that, after the war of Mahabharata, he came back to Hastinapur here, where Pandavas were ruling and Dhritarashtra was staying in the house. So here it says that Mahatma Vidhur. So Mahatma here means Mahatma, means like who is always like what do you call spiritually highly elevated person. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentioned that like in Bhagavad Gita, Mahatma means a person who is a devotee. A real Mahatma is who is a devotee. So here this like Vidur is a pure devotee, and he visited various holy dhams, and he came here to meet Pandavas who are also like very pure devotee of the Lord, and also he specially came to deliver his brother Dhritarashtra, who was living in the house of Pandavas. So the purpose was that. So when he came here, so Maharaj Yudhishthira welcomed him because again, like even though Yudhishthira was a king, but Vidura was his uncle. So, and especially like from especially from relationship perspective, Dhritarashtra and Pandu and Vidura, they were all same. They are like brothers. So Yudhishthira actually give him very warm welcome. And he generally, when somebody comes to our house, we give them a proper welcome, and then we ask for what is going on. Like generally, like this is a tradition, like, how are you doing? How the things are going on? Please explain where you were, what things were going on with you. So they actually exchange news. Nowadays, we have WhatsApp, we have, Facebook, we have so many news channels. So things are basically like more of like in the society. At that time, like news were given by like one person to another person. Like, so they were asking Vidura about all these like things, and also what he personally experienced. That is very important point is there. Like Vidura here is mentioned that when questioned by Maharaj Yudhishthira, Mahatma Vidur gradually described everything he had personally experienced. But all the things he explained, but he did not give this news of annihilation of Yadu dynasty. So Yadu dynasty, like we know, like after the war of Mahabharata, some 30-40 years later, when Krishna was in Dwarka, so Krishna wind up the whole dynasty. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that yada idahi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam sarjamyam. Sarjamyam paritranaya sadhunam vinashya dushkritam dharma sansthapanartha samhami. So there Krishna reveals that three important reasons why he come here: to establish a dharma, to protect the devotee, and to annihilate the miscreants. But here this very interesting pastime is that annihilation with the dynasty. So this is very interesting, for Krishna, creation and annihilation both are same activity. From our perspective, generally, say what happen is, if somebody takes birth in our family, we become very joyous, very, very happy. Oh my God, somebody took birth. So there's a grand celebration. We invite everyone to have a nice prasadam, and then nice function. And then every year we celebrate in a grand way that birthday. Oh, that person is born on that day. So there's a grand celebration on the birthdays, right? And then when somebody dies, that same person leave the world, everyone becomes sad. We say oh, that person is gone. So we become sad, and we basically we do in I'm saying in a regular society, people just don't want to see that annihilation part. So birth is always good, death is not at all good. Nobody want to die. So why people don't want to die? If I'll ask this question, can anyone this is like a pop quiz I'm giving. Why the living entity don't want to die? What is the reason? Would you like to share, anyone? Why people don't want to die? Yes, Kalpesh Guru.
Because he's identified himself as a bodily conception, so he's totally involved in that.
So you're saying
They
because
want to keep on enjoying their senses.
okay, so one point is that because he thinks that he's the body, so that he don't die. Second is they want to enjoy their senses, so that's why they don't want to leave it. Okay, that's two point.
Because of material attachment.
Oh, because of the material attachment, because he don't want to give it up whatever he has, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point.
Krishna, it's the asakti which makes him, stay forever. Asakti for everything, material life, family, things around him, whatever he,
Okay.
collected.
Because of his attachment to his surroundings, whatever, like home, family, all those kind of things. Okay. Any other reason?
Because it's unnatural.
Yeah, it's not natural. Could you explain, Prabhu, more when you say unnatural, so that everyone can hear?
Sure. Oh, sorry. Well, because we're spirit soul and we're eternal, so this concept of death is very unnatural for us. So naturally, we are disinclined to accept it.
Yes. Yeah, that's the important point. That's what Charuchand Prabhu mentioned is, because we are spirit soul, there is no death for us actually. Even though these material bodies is leaving, all those points are valid, but main important point I was want to put it is what Charuchand Prabhu said, that as a soul we have no death. It's for generally death is not the thing that we are generally goes. But because of the everyone, all of you say that because of our material attachment, we are so much attached to this body, and leaving this body and giving up the enjoyment what we are basically going through is become very difficult. So we don't want to die. That's why people are attached to the same body. One of the points Srila Prabhupada says that because whatever body we'll get in this material world, we are basically attached to that body, and then we want to enjoy, think that is the last body, or we are not going to get any more body after that. So that is a concept, especially accept the Vedic education. Outside, this is a concept that this is the last life. In other tradition also, they think that, oh, this is the last life. Whatever you want to enjoy not this, because they most of the conception that there is no reincarnation. Like they think that there is no life after death. And, but here, like we see in Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly mentioned that when death means changing of the body. Tehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavaram jara tatha dehanta prapti dhirastatana moyati. So as a embodied soul pass from boyhood to young age to old age, and at the time of death, the soul move from give up the old body, take the new body. So annihilation in a Vedic way is a rejuvenation. If you see from Bhagavad Gita perspective, death is not the final thing in our life. Death is just a change of the body. Death is just a change of the body. But because we are so much attached to the body, that's why we don't want to give it up. If say like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Vamsam se jirnani yatha vihai Navani granati naro parani tatha shinani vihai jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. I don't know about the Prabhujis, but Mataji is like, like I have seen that they want to change their dress very frequently. Like, once they wear one sari, they don't want to wear that sari again. I'm just joking, I have seen that. If you have one sari and you wear one time, then say, I already wear that sari, I don't want to wear next time, because people say that you are already wearing the same sari. So they have collection of dresses, and they want to change because they want to look different, right? New, fresh. Why we want to change? Because we want to look different and we want to look like fresh. We want to look young. All this kind of thing, right? So this death is nothing but a change of dress only, right? Krishna says that what you are doing is as you give up old and useless body and you take a new body, like as you give an old and useless garment and you put up a new garment. Similarly, the soul at the time of death give up this old and useless body and take a new body. So it's a rejuvenation. Like you are basically giving up like the old and useless body, because the old body is not at all useful, right? At certain point of time, our body becomes useless. We cannot see from our eyes. Our hands don't work. We cannot stand on our legs. Like we lie down and then we cannot hear properly. So all those things will happen. So at that time, what is the point of continuing with this body? It's better to get a new body, right? So this is this news of death is very, very scary for all of us. So we don't want to hear anybody dying, but here same thing is that, because even though Pandava, they are all devotees, and Vidura is also devotees, So for them, here the news of annihilation is like a very sad thing. Now there's one aspect why, what the difference between a normal person leaving this material world and the annihilation of Yadu dynasty. Anyone would like to point it out? What is the difference? Why this news will be very difficult for Pandavas to tolerate? What do you think about that? Even though as a devotee, like if somebody leaves the body, Krishna says dhirastatana mohyati. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that like a person who is a devotee who knows the things, they should not get bewildered with change of the body, right? So here we can say Mahatma Vidur, he should have given the news, right? He should have given the news, because news means like, okay, somebody changed the body, it's okay. So you are a devotee, you should handle it, right? But here we see like that Mahatma Vidur don't want to disclose this. He don't want to disclose it. So what is the difference? Like giving in because in front of Yudhishthira and Arjuna, so many people died in battlefield of Kurukshetra. For them, death is not a new thing, right? So anyone would like to comment here? Yes, Bob Prabhu.
Krishna, thank you. Is it because they knew that this was going to drive and start a Kali Yuga?
Yeah, that's one of the reason, but not the final reason. Like I would like more comments on this. Yes, Mataji. I see two hands. Ritu Mataji, you have something to say? Or Shobha Radhe Mataji?
They always felt protected under Krishna. Kunti Devi had, in her prayers also had said every time Krishna was there, they felt protected, or when they were in need, he was there. Now, if he's gone.
Yeah, so that's the right point. So main point here is that what death bring, even like say for example in devotee circle, say like in materialistic way, death means like that person is gone, and we cannot see that person no longer. But in a devotee way, in a devotee circle, we are not worried about death. We are not worried about the change of the body. What we are worried about, separation of association. We are basically we want association with devotees, and when somebody leave the body, some devotee leave our association, at that time we feel separation. So here main point is that Mahatma Vidur, he knows that all the Pandavas, their life is Krishna. As Shobha Radhe Mataji mentioned that the whole Mahabharata war, Krishna protected Pandavas completely, and Kunti Maharani also actually offered in her prayers that Krishna protected her sons more than Devaki's son. Devaki lost 6 of her sons, right? We know that like Kamsa killed 6 sons of Devaki. Devaki is the mother of Krishna. Krishna did not protect the 6 sons of Devaki, like externally, like we see in the Leela. But Kunti Maharani mentioned this point that you actually favored more than me to than Devaki, because you protected my sons, but you did not protect your own brothers, like Devaki's son. So you have taken care of me more. So it is also mentioned that as the eyelids protect eyes, we have eyes, we have 2 eyes, right? And we have eyelid. So if there is any dust storm or any object that try to hit our eyes, right? So even before, consciously or unconsciously, our eyelids protects our eyes, isn't it? Whether we pray or we see or not see, as soon as something comes, our eyelids protects our eyes. Similarly, it is mentioned that Krishna protected Pandavas as eyelids protecting eyes. Even though Pandavas are aware or not aware, but Krishna always protected Pandavas. So that's the main point here, is that because they were so much attached to Krishna, their life and soul is Krishna. If Vidura thought like, if I will give this news to Pandavas, then they will definitely become completely shattered. So that's why in the next verse we will come back here. So here Prabhupada mentioned that according to Niti Shastra means civic law, like in day-to-day life, what we are basically dealing with each other. According to Niti Shastra, one should not speak an unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. So now this line itself is like a very meaningful here. Prabhupada say that. So one place, like in Bhagavad Gita, we say that Krishna is saying that we should speak truth. That is the austerity of the speech. Anyone remember Bhagavad Gita? Which verse is that? 17th chapter, right? 17th and 14th, I guess, right? Where Krishna says that Anudvek Karam Vakyam, right? The austerity of the speech. Yes, Anudvek Karam Vakyam Satyam Priyam Hitam Chayat. I'll share that for you, so that we can discuss that part also. So this is from Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna was speaking austerity of body, mind, and speech, so here Krishna is saying Anudvek Karam Vakyam Satyam Piram Hitam Chayat Swadhyay Abhasanam Cheva Vangvyam Tap Uchyati. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful. So means here we are saying that Krishna is saying that we should always speak truth, because that is the austerity of the speech. We should not become liar. We should not cheat, right? And the second thing is saying that the word should be pleasing. Pleasing means it should not hurt other people. Also, beneficial. So we should take these three things in totality and not agitating to others. This also. See, these all things should be taken in totality. Truth should be spoken for the pleasure of the people and for the benefit of the people. If you speak truth which will harm other people, we should not speak. That's the point here. What we're seeing here is one should not speak an unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. So what is the main point we can get it from here is that we should not create problem for other living entities. That is the higher truth, higher dharma than speaking truth also, isn't it? Do you agree with me, or like anyone have any comment on this? What I'm understanding is it correct? What do you say, Vindhamali Mataji?
No comment.
No comment. So here, according to Niti Shastra, Srila Prabhupada says that one should not speak unpalatable truth to cause distress to others. Why? Then when Srila Prabhupada gives reason in the next line. Distress comes upon its own way by laws of nature. One should not aggravate it by propaganda. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this, Matra sparshasthu kaunteya. If we see Bhagavad Gita 240, what Krishna says there, Matra sparshasthu kaunteya, shitoshnu dukhadha, agam apaino nitya, tam titsaksha bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance and distress means happiness and distress both, even happiness also, and their disappearance in this due course means they are not going to stay forever, so they will disappear also, are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. So now we are basically, our summer is going away now. our nice time is going away now. We are entering into fall. Fall is also nice. Then we are going to go winter. People are saying this year the winter will be very harsh, because we didn't get much rain and also. But anyway, we'll see that how the winter will be this year. But point is that these seasons will go on time. There are 3 months for summer, 3 months fall, then we have winter, then spring, and all these things keep going on. Every year this repeats, right? So Krishna is saying that non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress means sukha and dukha, both, and their disappearance in due course of time are like appearance and disappearance of summer and winter season. So either sukha or dukha or happiness or distress, they are not permanent. First of all, they are non-permanent, and also their appearance. They will come for a certain period of time, and during the due course of time, these things will go away on its own. On its own. One thing we need to know that they will go on its own. You cannot really chase those things by your own endeavor. They arise from sense perception. They arise from sense perception. Or sign of Bharat, one must learn to tolerate them without disturbance. So here Krishna is saying that to Arjuna, you should tolerate them, both of them. Very interesting point is that you should tolerate not even dukkha. Generally, if there is a distress, people are shattered. There are so many problems in the life. Somebody has some money problem, financial problem, family problem, job problem, and so many problems nowadays. Devotional problems, in spiritual life there is a problem, temple problems, these management problems. So many problems are there. So here Krishna is saying, okay, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. But he is not saying just for distress. He's saying for happiness also. Now somebody might say that, well, what is the meaning of tolerating happiness? So happiness should be enjoyed. We should become puffed up. Oh my God, enjoyment. Like if you get too much happiness, you want to enjoy, right? What tolerance means? The tolerance here, Krishna is saying that don't become too overjoyed, because the enjoyment also will go away. Over the period of time, your happiness will be also taken away in this material world. So these happiness and distress, they come on their own. So here, what Srila Prabhupada bringing the point is that one should not aggravate it by propaganda. So here, can we see that, like here the propaganda word is used for Vidura. No, it is not for Vidura. Prabhupada is giving instruction for all of us. That is something going wrong in our society, and we basically chit chat and say, hey, that person is doing this thing, this is so bad and all. We start spreading news like some, that's putting some spices. One news become like go to one person to another person will add something. That person will add another thing, go to third person. That third person will add something more and then go to another person. So then even the same news doesn't carry. It become like with lot of spices and all. It's become like more attractive to other people. So that is called propaganda. You are basically spreading a news just to basically enjoy what is going on. But here Srila says that one should not aggravate it by propaganda, because this happiness or distress, like here the point is that distress, actually, that distress will come on its own by the laws of nature. So Vidura knows that this news of leaving of Krishna from this mortal world, from this material world, and the annihilation of Vidu dynasty, one day or tomorrow, today or tomorrow, Pandava is going to come to know. I do not want to become cause of their suffering, even though he is not causing the suffering. He will become instrument of suffering. Like it means in the sense that because he is delivering the news. So generally, the person who deliver good news, we want to give them a nice gift, isn't it? Like say, I remember in India, like nowadays not, but olden days when a mailman used to come and bring some good news, right? And then he say, "Oh, I bring the good news. Give me the sweet," right? Here we give mailmen like during the Christmas time and all. We give them chocolates and all. Like anybody, like okay, like once in a year. But in India, like they like people like mailmen and all. When they used to bring good news, they used to like say, "Hey, somebody's getting good marks or somebody's getting." I remember like when I was in India, I got a passport. This is not a good news, but they say in India getting passport is also big news actually. So I got a passport. They were saying, the mailman saying, "Oh, give me some reward that you got a passport." Right? I say, I got a passport, and why I should give it to you reward? But point is that, oh, you are going to abroad, you are going to like a foreign land, so you are going to have like good prospects. So you give me some kind of money or some kind of reward. So we ask for that. But when it's come to give like a sad news, sad news. So when somebody brings sad news, that person automatically like think that, oh, this person is bringing sad news, even though that person is just giving the news, but somehow or other, some kind of effect will go on that person also. So here he's Vidura is saying that I don't want to become cause of their suffering, even though he's not the cause of suffering. He's not the cause of suffering. He just need to give the news. This is what's happening. But he don't want to become even that also. Even that also he don't want to do it. So say that's what Prabhupada say, that like one should not aggravate it by propaganda. So that's a different thing for us actually. But Vidura, like he could have given this news and console properly all the 5 Pandavas, but he don't want to do that. So here Prabhupada next say that for a compassionate soul like Vidura, especially in his dealing with beloved Pandavas, it was almost impossible to disclose the unpalatable piece of news like annihilation of the dynasty. Therefore, he purposely refrained from it. So he could not see like how the Pandavas will feel at that time, because seeing somebody in distress like this, he could not tolerate it. So he said that, no, I'm not going to speak this. Let it has come on his own, because the time will come when some or other Pandavas will came to know that Krishna, along with his whole family, left this world. They are no longer in this world. We will see future in the Srimad Bhagavatam, maybe in the next chapter. As soon as Pandavas they are going to hear this news, immediately, Yudhishthira Maharaj decided to leave this world. He said, now it's time to leave this world. Yes, one of the devotee mentioned that because Krishna left this world, so Kali Yuga started. That's one point, because we see there are various omens Yudhishthira is going to see, because Yudhishthira is going to send Arjuna to get the news of Krishna, and when he's going to come back, before that, Yudhishthira is discussing with Bhima later in the chapter, in the next chapter. So Yudhishthira see a lot of bad omens happening in the king, in his in his kingdom. So he could see that these all bad omens are because Krishna left this world. So because the Kali Yuga started, so that's the reason, like he's saying that I should leave now. I should leave now, because that's why Yudhishthira Maharaj could not tolerate this news, and he himself, and along with all 5 Pandavas, they all left. Even Draupadi and all other, like even like in the next chapter we'll see that Dhritarashtra and Gandhari and Kunti, they also leave. But later, like all the 5 Pandavas and Draupadi, they will also leave, even Subhadra. So Vidura don't want to cause that thing by himself. He's as a devotee, what we can learn from here is that we should not cause any suffering to any living entity. We like devotees are very compassionate. Devotees are very compassionate, so they don't want to cause any suffering to anyone. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which actually talks about the qualities of a devotee. I'll share with you. So there it's mentioned, and which is very appropriate in this verse here. It says, Titikshva karunika suharda sarvadehinam aja shatrava santa sadhava sadhu bhushana. These are the qualities of pure devotees, which are like very much fit on Pandavas and Vidura. The first quality here is mentioned that the symptom of sadhu are that he is tolerant and is merciful and friendly to all living entities. So here Vidura, like or like even in general all the devotees, we should be compassionate on other people. This world is already full of suffering. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Dukhalyam ashashvatam. We are already in a place of misery. Hardly there is like any happiness for the people who are materialistic. Materialistic people think that they are happy, but their happiness is not the real happiness. So they are already going through so much suffering, and the devotee, we should be very merciful. Srila Prabhupada say that in one of his lecture that a devotee should be merciful, and they should actually like distribute Krishna consciousness or gives Krishna consciousness to all other people. While doing this, so that they sometimes has to go through some trouble also. Devotees go beyond their comfort zone and they preach to the people so that they can get Krishna consciousness. For that, they go through so much problems also. For that, a devotee should be tolerant. He should be tolerant and he should be peaceful here. He says Shantava. Like he should not agree, he should not become agitated by the problems in this material world. So these are all the symptoms of a devotee here. So Vidura don't want to even cause any suffering or any kind of distress to anyone. Like even Pandavas about that news. So one of the another point same is that because devotees are friendly to all living entities, they should work for the welfare of the devotee. But same if we see I just bring another point what we are discussing here in the same Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll bring another perspective also. In the same Srimad Bhagavatam, Parishit Maharaj was cursed by a Brahmana that he will die on seventh day, after seventh day, by Takshaka. We know that. So Samik Rishi, like we see Shrangi actually cursed Parikshit, but Parikshit at that time did not know about that curse. But Samik Rishi sent one of his disciple to go and tell Parikshit that you got a curse that after 7 days you will die. 7. But there we see, now I'm just for a comparison I'm telling you. there we see if one person is giving the information of distress to Parikshit Maharaj. You see the point in the same Bhagavatam. I am in the same Bhagavatam. Here we are talking about 13th chapter, and I am talking about 19th chapter. In the same Bhagavatam, Samik Rishi is sending this news of distress to Parikshit Maharaj. So I would like you to comment what is the difference there. Somebody can actually comment why Samik Rishi decided to give this information to Parikshit Maharaj, but here Vidura don't want to give this information to Pandavas. Okay, who's like going to comment? So Shobharade Mataji.
Because that was the reason why Parikshit Maharaj decided to listen to the Bhagavad. He used it for a good purpose.
That's a good point. Thank you, Mataji. Kalpesh Prabhu.
Yeah. Same Prabhuji. It is what Sobharada Mataji said. In this case, a person is delivered the message because for the good cause, he can, if still within the 7 days, he can connect himself to the Supreme Lord and do for the, and can change his life.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any other devotee would like to comment or?
Yeah, at the same time, King Parikshit, who was ruling, a whole kingdom.
Yes.
So it's very important, to let everyone knows what's going on with the king. So another reason, Samika Rishi went and delivers this message to everyone. They know what's going on and what is the position, who's going to rule the kingdom and who's going to take care of all the people. And it's very important to inform them.
Yes, very good point. Anyone else? Like there are more points actually. It's very important that we should analyze this both the sections, because we are talking about same Bhagavatam. One place we are hiding the information, like one devotee is not giving, another place we are giving. So any other points anyone would like to brought up here? Okay, let me put like what Goloka Priya Mataji said and Shobharade Mataji said. So they both are correct. First of all, that when Samik Rishi came to know that Parikshit Maharaj being cursed by his son, right? Samik Rishi Prabhu, he came to know that Parikshit actually put the dead snake on my body. He did offense, right? He did wrong thing. That's agreed, right? But as a sadhu, he said that he just insulted me, right? So I should tolerate that part. It's not that like that's a big thing that he did to me, right? And first of all, he was a king who was basically protecting the whole kingdom, whole society, and he is a representative of Krishna, because king is a representative of God. So he's a good devotee. He's a pure devotee of Krishna also. So first of all, he felt very bad that his son actually wrongly cursed Parikshit Maharaj. So what could have been done? So like Samik Rishi said that because at that time, if words comes from the tongue of Brahmana, it cannot be taken away. There's no counteraction. Nowadays, people say so many things, but no action happens because people are not pure. There's no pure Brahmana and there is no chaste wife. In our Shastra, Vedic civilization, two people's curse is very, very famous. A pure Brahmana and a chaste wife. If wife is chaste and she says something, Krishna make that happen, and or if a Brahmana says something, that always happens. So at that time, it was like, Shringi said. So Samik Rishi could not reverse that. But he said that, first of all, my son did the wrong thing. He blamed his son more than Parishit. And then second thing, he thought like, if Parishit doesn't know this part, so he will die untimely, without information. So as Golokanand Mataji mentioned that, he should make proper arrangement. If he could counteract the curse, first of all, there's a way you can actually counteract the curse also. There are ways. So first of all, he can make arrangement for that. And also he can make future prospects, like what he want to do or what he want to do like in his life and all those kind of things. So he should not die uninformed. Because uninformed, he should not die. So let me actually give this message, and whatever good he can do for himself, he can do. See, generally what happen is, when we came to know that we are going to leave our body, so at that time, in Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that, we should try to fully focus on Krishna. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Anta kalecha mameva smaran muktava kalevram. So if you want to take full full advantage of this human life, that we should remember Krishna at the end of leaving this body. Srila Prabhupada says that we should try to remember Krishna all the time, 24/7, so that we'll not forget Krishna at the time of leaving the body. So that's the most opportunity we'll get this in this human form of life. So Samik Rishi thought like, if Parishit Maharaj want to do something for himself, he can do in these 7 days. And that's what he did actually. When Parishit came to know that I'm going to leave after 7 days, he did not try to counteract that. Even though like in Mahabharata it is written that one sage, one Muni came to Parishit Maharaj and said that, don't worry, I have mantras through which I can control any snake. No snake can touch you. This I can guarantee you. And or even Parishit Maharaj, he himself is so powerful. Takshaka, he would have killed Takshaka also. If Takshaka would have come, Parishit Maharaj himself was very powerful. And you see, like when Parishit Maharaj was there, a womb of his mother, Uttara, right? So at that time, Krishna personally protected him. From which? Brahmastra. So Brahma Astra and Brahma Vakya, or the words of Brahmana, they're same thing. They're same thing, So when Krishna protected Parishit Maharaj in the womb of his mother from Brahmastra, Krishna could have protected now also. He could have asked Krishna to protect him, right? But he chose not to do it. He chose not to do it because he knows the purpose of life is not to extend our life here. Devotees are not interested in extending the life. They just want to do the devotional service here. The main essence is that the devotional service that we are performing. So Parishit Maharaj decided, as Subharade Mata mentioned, that he want to utilize this time to basically for the welfare of his own, so that he can give he can hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. But ultimately, it's overall plan of Krishna actually. Ultimately, if we finally put it, it is all will of Krishna. This is what these pastimes are all basically arranged by Krishna. So what we can learn is that we should give information for the benefit of other living entities. The point that I want to focus here is that here we should, what Prabhupada say that we should here, like in the Bhagavad Gita, beneficial. This benefit is more important point. We should understand that whatever we speak, whether this word is going to benefit this person or not. We should not speak anything which is going to create any problem for other person. Say suppose if some news is there in the society, some wrong things happening in the society, some good thing is also happening in the society. Say for example, like if somebody dies in a family, and in the same family, if there is a pregnant lady, right? It is a culture that we should not give the news of death to that lady. No, because if you give the news to that Mataji who's pregnant, that will cause a harm to the child or the mother. Right? This is common, like like in a Vedic culture is that, and I have seen, like I have heard that in one family there was a marriage going on, and while the marriage was going on, suddenly one family member died at that time. So when that family member died, so the whole family, like the people, they actually hide that news till the marriage was ceremony completed. They say like marriage for the girl is more important than giving this news, because if the news will come, the marriage will stop. Because marriage is one of the main important, event, or I would say like samskara in the life of a of at least from the from for Mataji, So that also need to be hide. So we have to see, we have to judge, like whether this my words, what I'm going to speak, is going to help this other person or not. So that's a point here. Like we should, that's the austerity of speech. We should speak the words which are beneficial for others. So in the case of Samik Rishi and Parikshit Maharaj pastime, so that word is going to benefit Parikshit Maharaj. So that's why he say, okay, let's do it, because it will going to help him. Even though it's going to cause some distress. See, that word is not a pleasing word. It is going to cause some distress, definitely. It's up to Parikshit Maharaj how he's going to take it. He took it that in a positive way. Some people would have taken it wrong way, but he took it in a positive way. That's a quality of a devotee, that they took the things in a right way. So now here Vidura is saying that even though I don't know how the Pandavas will take it, but I don't want to give this news and let it come on its own, because here another factor what Prabhupada mentioned is that this will come by laws of nature automatically. This is basically like news of distress. They will come to know. If I'm not going to say, they will come to know, because this is already happened. So we need to see like what is the benefit. Vidura thought that it is not benefit for the Pandavas right now, and like because they will come into distress, and my purpose is coming here is to like deliver the trust. That was the purpose. He don't want to like change the whole scene there. He just went on with the event, and then he moved on there. So these are some of the focus points from my side. Let me see if anyone have any comment or any questions related to today's topic. Or maybe you can share your realization, like if you have seen any event in your life where you need to deliver a message which is causing distress to other, or maybe you hide the message, not to deliver to that person. If anyone would like to share.
If anybody wants to say anything, please just unmute yourself and go ahead. I just want to say that you brought out the connection very, very nicely. The way you were saying in the same Bhagavatam, an event has been handled in opposite ways. And I think that makes me think that this is, it's not, you just don't follow it blindly. You just don't read a verse blindly and say, this is how it should be done. We really have to be conscious of the context, of the situation. And the other point that I heard from you today is, all of us said because Parikshit wanted to make use of that 7 days in a positive way and all that. But the reason why Samik Rishi did not say was because it was a personal insult, and that he should have tolerated. That should have been tolerated. And that, I think, is so important. If all of us tolerated a little bit more and did not react, especially to personal insults, then it is it's also a delicate balance, because sometimes, at least that is what my kids tell me, is that are you being a doormat? Are you tolerating because you're not able to fight back? It's very delicate, but again, something that we have to be conscious. And the way Samik Rishi handled it just shows how conscious he was. That is why Brahmanas were treated with that much respect, because every situation they were so, they were able to analyze it, so scrutinizing. Thank you for bringing all those points up today.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, very, very important point is that what you brought is very good point, Mataji. Like we have to see Bhagavatam in totality. Like, sometimes we choose words of Srila Prabhupada and make that as statements that this is the law, So Srila Prabhupada actually give commentary with dealing whole scenario, like, in totality. So when we analyze and when we deal, we have to see all those perspective before we make like, okay, judgment. This is what Prabhupada want to say. This is what. So that's why we need a lot of discussion among devotees to understand Bhagavatam also. Otherwise, we can just take one word and then we say this is done, right? So that's a good point, Mataji brought it. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share anything?
No, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Suman Mataji. Yes.
Just want to thank you for your nice class. And I got this realization that we should give news or we should say something for the benefit of the others. Like in the case of Parikshit Maharaj. So he gave, when the Brahmana went there for the benefit of Parikshit Maharaj. And Vidura did not give message because he wanted them to know in its own. He didn't want to give the bad news. I really clearly made the distinction between the two kinds of the way of giving news. And so I got this realization or to this point about saying something for the benefit of others. And you connected with the Gita's verse about speech of austerity. It was really nice. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. This is very important what you brought. See, these three things that we should always keep this in our mind, that whether my dealings or my words will really going to benefit that person or not. See, like sometimes, my personal realization is like, sometimes something is disturbing me a lot because somebody said something wrong to me or something happened to me. So when I'm going to speak to someone else, okay, my family member or other people, when I say, will this going to give a positive impact to them or negative impact to them? In overall situation, will my discussion of this topic is going to help my children, my family, or my friends in a positive way or in a negative way? Because saying negative word is very easy. We can find fault in each and everything very easily. This is the nature. Like there's something we see, we find fault. Fault finding is very easy for all of us. We can just, as soon as we see something, we can find a fault. And if you find the fault, that's okay. This is our nature. Like but spreading this to other people, is it really benefit them or not? So we cannot control our mind because our mind is like very, very difficult to get control. But we should control our tongue. We should not speak, but because of once the words comes out from our mouth, from our tongue, you cannot stop that. It's already done the damage. It's already done the damage. We say like हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना कि मुंह से निकला वाक्य और कमान से निकला तीर वापस नहीं आते. Like once the words comes out from your tongue and once the arrow goes from the bow, you cannot take it back. Right? So we have to be careful what we are speaking. And we have, as a devotee, we have to be very, very careful that what we are speaking, whether really going to benefit or not. That's why I brought up this Bhagavad Gita point that it is the austerity of speech. That Prabhupada says that austerity of speech is basically giving Krishna consciousness to others. We should speak only about Krishna, so that will definitely going to benefit all of us. So that's why Prabhupada says that 24/7 we should chant Hare Krishna and we should speak about Krishna. So thank you very much, Mataji, for bringing that point.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Kalpesh Prabhu, or I see a hand raised.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So thank you very much for connecting all these different verses with this. Yeah, I agree. Like in this current time, we see, I name it as like a oral diarrhea. So people speak words and which are not beneficial and truthful and agitating to others and causing annoyance to others. So, but everybody is not tolerant because they probably don't understand the law of natures, like modes of material natures. So in current times, who do you see the responsible for in society level, in terms of influence? Who is more responsible, like exposure of media, news, which is putting all this more, or is it a person? Because we have to take that kind of judgment, what to avoid and how to make society more beneficial, like spreading the Krishna consciousness message. So if you want to say something on that.
Well, yeah, you brought a very good point, Prabhu. This is, because these are practical issues that you are bringing. So in today's society where we are living, this media, government, there's a propaganda at state level propaganda, very huge, wide level propaganda of the wrong news all the time, everywhere. People are criticizing each other, one party to other party, one person to other person. There's so much competition. People are envious of each other. There's so much fighting going on, all these things. So in this society, what we are doing as a devotee, so Srila Prabhupada says that as they are doing their propaganda, we should do our propaganda. Prabhupada said that in order to defeat their propaganda, we have to do our propaganda of spreading Krishna consciousness. We should be very enthusiastically giving our propaganda that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna. See, because what happened is that because this whole world is spoiled because of wrong propaganda. What you said is correct. See, these people in this world, you see all this, you from the history also, you can see all these wrong things that happened because they started the wrong propaganda. They spread these things to the people, convinced with the wrong thing, and then they rule. So in order, that's why people are getting confused. They are getting so much of into problem because the right news is not coming up. The wrong thing is spread everywhere. So how to correct? We don't have control on the state. Like say, suppose we are not running government, we are not running media, we are not running social media, we are not running any kind of schools, colleges, universities. They're all propaganda. They are all propaganda actually. So
Yes.
how to live in this world of propaganda? So Prabhupada says that we should also do our own propaganda. That's the point is that. So let them say what they say. We should do our propaganda and we should try again and again, hit same thing, so that whoever accept our propaganda, they will be saved. We cannot say the whole, we want to save the whole world. That's no doubt. Srila Prabhupada his vision is for the whole world.
Yes.
But can we do it? Yes, we can do it. But are we capable of doing this? We are not, because first of all, we need to ourselves get into that position. So whatever we can do, whatever contribution we can do, we should do it. And then we should do, like say now, this Saturday we have Rath Yatra. So we should do Rath Yatra in a grand way so that we can do this propaganda that Krishna consciousness is the only way, so that everyone can get convinced with that. If we can do that, at least whoever come to our contact, they will get benefit. So this wrong propaganda that is happening, we should actually do it with spreading, preaching Krishna consciousness everywhere, as much as possible. That's the way Prabhupada says that we can actually change the world. Otherwise, this world will not going to change. It's already going in the wrong direction.
Okay, so yeah, basically, like in this current time, people are having that they have a phone, which is they know name is that a smartphone. So smartphone can be a weapon for them to use the social media to spread, because people are not willing to talk, to be honest. So the only way is to, I can see there is more way, but majority people are absorbed into phones. So using phone and social media would be a heavy, like one of the opportunities for spreading Krishna consciousness. Because I do myself, but I'm just saying, I'm bringing up this.
Yes,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, very good point. One thing that I would say, like, with my humble request is that, yes, first we should do our bhakti sincerely,
Yes.
because going in social media and spreading, we might also get affected with the negative impact of social media also. Because social media does not mean that we are only giving, but social media is already junk, already there. So much nonsense is also there in social media. So before we jump into that, I should say we should do our sadhana very nicely. We should pray to Krishna very sincerely, and we should go in association of devotee. I'm telling you, don't go alone. See, when we do this thing, if we do alone, there's a chance that we might not be successful and we might not do right thing. So when we do something, always discuss with devotee. That's something, because see, when you go in association of devotee, then we see all the aspects, and we take care of our devotional life, and we go in a right direction. Sometimes, if one person say, okay, I'm going to go on social media and try to preach Krishna consciousness, he might be successful, he might not be successful. But when you go in a association of devotee, whether we are successful or not, but our devotional life will be saved, definitely. That's what I'm saying. Like, we should not lose our devotional life. So our first duty, Srila Prabhupada says that our first duty is to become Krishna consciousness ourselves. First duty, that we should become Krishna conscious, and then we should try to help other people. But first, we should make sure we safeguard our Krishna consciousness. Means our sadhana, our practices, our like a study of Srimad Bhagavatam, our study of Srimad Bhagavatam. We should don't give up those things. We should be strong on that, and then we move forward. That's my request.
Yes, that's right. Very good point. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any other question or comments? Okay, so
Thank you very much, Prabhu. That was a very good start to the week. It's 9:08, so we'll end the class here now.
Thank you, Mataji. So we can offer the pranam to all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhuvevacha patitana pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namah. Anant Kodi Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.